You probably know exactly who you want to be, and you probably know exactly what you want your life to look like or what you want to do. But your lack of self awareness is what's holding you back. Your lack of self awareness prevents you from having clarity. Your lack of self awareness is what gives other people's words and thoughts power over you. We all make mistakes, and I've certainly made a lot of my own. As many of you know, I spent years overcoming and dealing with an alcohol addiction. It was so destructive that it almost destroyed my business. It destroyed relationships. I lost clients. It affected my health, so on, so on, so on. Everybody knows, the wake of destruction that addiction can leave. Now, during that period of time, I made a lot of bad and dumb and stupid decisions. And a lot of them I'm still dealing with some consequences, but I'm dealing with them. And you have to right your wrongs. You have to apologize and all of those things. But before you can do that, this is the step that took me the longest to realize. Everybody says the first step to overcoming a problem is admitting that you have a problem. That's not true. The first step to overcoming any problem or challenge or moving towards a goal is you have to become self-aware, 100% self-aware of who you are, where you are, and what you are. Good, bad, or indifferent. And when we stand in the mirror, we tend to see the worst in ourselves. We tend to see the negative in ourselves. We tend to see all the things that the other people are talking about. And by listening to those other people talk, we start to accept that as our reality. If I sat here and I just listened to the people that judge me or criticize me or hold things against me by saying, how could Evan possibly be trying to put messages out there to coach or to help people rebuild their life, rebuild their health, rebuild their business, to overcome a depression, anxiety, addiction, because he did all of these things wrong. He made all of these mistakes. He committed all of these sins. Well, guess what? Real life mistakes make the best education to help teach others to try to help them from making those same mistakes. Now, maybe you've already made some of them, but didn't get quite as bad as I did. Maybe you're on the verge of something and you don't realize it, and maybe my story helps you. Maybe something I say, resonates with you. So what qualifies me to render this advice? The simple fact that I destroyed every aspect of my life and I got back better than ever. But I accept the fact that I'm always going to have haters. And you're always going to have haters and doubters too. But if I sat there and I listened to all the negative comments and all the haters and all the doubters and the people saying, how could you possibly think you could help others? I never would have started. But by doing this and posting it and putting it on social media, I'm interacting with people all over the world now who are helping me and who are also thanking me and participating, and they've helped me. And the reason I say that to you is, if I never looked myself in the mirror and had that honest conversation about self-awareness, and I had to, as hard as it was, I had to say, you know what, Evan? You're depressed, you're anxious, you have a drinking problem, you're lazy, you're procrastinating. And only once that you can identify and accept that that is your reality, and it hurts, it's painful, I'm telling you, it's painful. But once you do that and you put it out there and you know that this is what you now have to work on, it is so liberating. It's like a monkey off your back, because now you're like, okay, this is where I was, this is what I did, I can't change that, and that helped to define who I am today, but it does not have to define who you are tomorrow or what tomorrow looks like or how you move forward tomorrow. Tomorrow is completely up to you. So the systematic approach to moving forward, if you're having that lack of self-awareness because of outside influences or lack of direction or lack of clarity, maybe you're not sure what you want to do, well, there's a couple of easy things that you can do to start to put your life on track. The first thing I would do if I were you is I would sit down with a pen and a paper with no specific plan or agenda, and whatever's in your head, start writing it. Just write it. Get it out. Do a brain dump. When you can start to see all of your thoughts and all of your wishes and all of your hopes and all of your dreams and all of your complaints, and you just start getting a brain dump, getting it out of your head, it makes it so much easier to start to compartmentalize them and start to identify what is a real problem, what isn't, what needs addressed, what doesn't. From there, You look at the things that you can start to address immediately. You're not going to change them all at once. You're not going to overcome anxiety and depression. You're not going to fix a relationship. You're not going to overcome an addiction. You're not going to lose all the weight that you want to. But every day, the key is just getting up, putting your feet on the floor, and just taking another step. Knowing that there's going to be people, doubters, haters, envy and greed and jealousy are going to play a big part of it, because people are going to start to see you make progress. When people started to see me make progress, that's when it got really aggressive against me. People would talk about me behind my back. Oh, did you hear Evan did this? Did you hear Evan did that? I can't believe Evan thinks he can do this because I know he did that. Look, that's going to be with me the rest of my life, and that's okay. I actually feel bad for those people, that they have nothing better to do than to criticize my life and determine what impact I'm able to have on other people in the world because of mistakes that I made. The mistakes that I made, the mistakes that you made, that's the good stuff. That, if you use it the right way, that knowledge is not power. Knowledge is only potential power. So you take this knowledge and then you apply it. That's where the power comes in. Then you have the power to change your life. You have the power to change your health, your mental health, your physical health. You have the ability to change your financial, well-being. You have the ability to change your relationships. But it all goes back to self-awareness. Having that honest conversation with ourselves of who am I? What am I? Why am I? You start by doing that brain dump. And then you start by organizing your thoughts, and you start to figure out, what are the little things I can start to do today? For some people, if you're battling depression, anxiety, maybe it's just getting out of bed today. Maybe it's just making your bed as a simple task to complete. Then maybe tomorrow it's make your bed and then go walk around the block. Maybe it's the person that needs the diet that you just get up and have a healthy breakfast. It's okay. Like, it's okay to not be okay. It happens. And by telling yourself that it's not okay, well, then you're just making the problem worse. Everybody has bad days. It's going to happen. It took me a long time to accept that and to realize that not every day is going to go the way that I want to. And I am a control freak. And when I lose my morning at like 11 a.m. and I have the rest of the day, I completely lose sight. I lose focus, and I say, man, this day is done. What am I going to do? I can't believe I just wasted 2 hours scrolling on social media. When in reality, all I have to do is put the phone down, pick up the next folder that I need to work on, and just complete a task. They always say there's a million cliches. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. And how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? And as cliche or corny or cheesy as these things might sound, they are all true. They're all true. One bite at a time, one step at a time. We become our worst enemies. We get into our own heads. And for some reason, somewhere along the line, we started to think that we couldn't do what we wanted in life unless we had the blessing of other people. Now, sure, you don't want to hurt people. You don't want to use people. You don't want to disappoint or upset. But I mean that in a harmful or disrespectful way to them. Not everybody's going to agree with what we do. And you're not going to agree with everything that they do. But that's the beauty of living your own life, designing your own life. So start with the self-awareness. Who am I? What am I? Why am I? You do a brain dump to start getting anything that's in here, get it on paper. So then you can start to organize it. Then from there, you can start to admit that, okay, here's my issues, here's my problems. And then where the fun part comes is the next step, which we're going to cover in another video, is the decision. You have to decide to make that change. You have to decide what kind of life you want to live. You have to decide what you want your future to look like. You have to decide what you want your job, your relationship, your income, your health, your body. Those are all decisions that you get to make. Nobody else. You get to make those decisions. And then after you make those decisions, well, then you get to sit down and write out your action plan on how to design that plan. So we make the decision, and then we design it. And then when you're designing it, you figure out, how do I execute on it? And then after you're executing on it, how do I hold myself accountable? But all of those steps you cannot get to if you do not start with self-awareness. So let today be the day that you start to get in touch with yourself so that you can move forward with self-awareness.